Low Key with your daily Q news. It's March 20th, Tuesday, 2018. No new Q post as of yet since Sunday the 18th, but future proves past post. So today we're going to go prove past post. We're going to go back to post 645, James Comey's tweet to McCabe decoded by Q, activating sleeper cells, and look at the different things that have happened from that time to now that were possible sleeper cells being activated. And if you wanted to follow along, that was post 645. Post 645, January 29th. Q writes, James Comey tweet translation. Special Agent Andrew McCabe stood tall over the past 8 months. Do not talk. When small people, sheep, were trying to tear down an institution we all depend on. Cover. He served with distinction for 2 decades. We own you and your family. I wish Andy well. 187. Murder. I also wish continued strength for the rest of the FBI, a general threat to others. America needs you. Activate sleeper cells. I'll give you a better look at that. Let's see here. Yes. I will also wish continued strength for the rest of the FBI. General threat to others. America needs you. Activate sleeper cells. I have gone back over a list. Actually, I'll read off the list to you of things that I wanted to keep up with since then. And a lot of things have happened since then. There was a lot that happened. Are you kidding me? There's a train going by as I'm talking about I'm about to talk about trains, so that's kind of relevant. Okay. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I live literally right across a highway from a train track. But different things that I've been keeping up with have been school shootings, mass shootings, explosions, plane and helicopter crashes, train crashes. Envelope attacks, poison attacks, fire at the Clintons, fire attacks, fire at the Trump Towers, heroin bust, sealed indictments, and different topics that could possibly be related to these active sleeper cells. We'll start with the context first of all the sleeper cells that were probably already activated by January 29th when Comey activated them all, basically, at last resort. Think back. Let me grab my calendar here and we'll look and see what happened throughout January. And it kind of puts everything into perspective. I would flip out. This is my calendar. Yeah. Let me get to January though. That's just March. Okay, January. What are some big things that happened in January? Trump tells Kim Jong-un my button is bigger. Refers to the DOJ as the deep state. And calls for James Comey and Huma Abedin to be investigated. Wednesday, the 3rd, Bannon says Russia meeting was treasonous. Thursday, 90% of U.S. coastline oil drills opened. Let's see. Let me find the important ones here. Admiral Rogers to retire in the spring. That's relevant now. Let's see. The assassination attempt, the possible assassination attempt. Trump said that he wasn't going to go to the UK to the opening of this new embassy that we spent hundreds of millions of dollars on. I can't remember the exact total now, but that, I think, could have been to maybe not count Assange's embassy as an embassy no more, and then they can just go in there and arrest him. I'm not sure if that was the case or not, but they opened brand new embassy. Trump says he didn't go to the grand opening as scheduled because he thought it was a waste of money and something that should have never been done in the first place. To find out later, there's a lot of talk about a possible assassination attempt on him if he went to the UK to the embassy opening, and he didn't. So there are big things happening right there. The Hawaii false alarm that happened the 13th of January. That's big stuff. That's a rogue ops, like deal that was foiled. That could have been a really, really bad thing for Hawaii, but even the world. Because it would have set off World War. The Olympics were coming up, and we knew that would have been our opportunity to have any bit of hope in talks with North Korea. It would have been through the Olympics. Looking back, future proofs past. What's something bigger? Trump travels to Davos. The government shut down the 20th and the 21st. The trip to Davos, and then Andrew McCabe tweeting sleeper cells. The 29th. The next day was the Soto address. If that puts everything into context and perspective for you. If you keep going, the memo, the Nunes memo, released February 2nd. So that was almost immediately after Comey's tweet. He knew what was happening. He knew what was about to happen. And he was basically saying, let's activate everyone that we got. Everyone that we got, this is a latch-ditch effort. And you can tell just by this calendar alone and the things that I have written down that was the case. They were backed into a corner. And now we will go through all the different things that have happened since then that could have been possible active sleeper cells activated by James Comey in the tweet on the 29th of January. What's crazy is it was February, it was Valentine's Day was the very next holiday after Comey's tweet. And there was the Parkland shooting. Just like a week later, that's crazy, a couple weeks later, boom, shooting. I looked up the mass shootings since the 29th. There's been 29 mass shootings. Mass shootings meaning 2 or more people were shot. 81 people have been killed from the 29th till now. Homicides rates for 2018 so far, the actual number count as of today was 3,581. 3,581 homicides. By gun was 2,450. Explosions. There was the 5th explosion today in Austin, Texas. They also found 6 bombs in mail at FedEx in Austin, Texas today. So there was a string of things ready to happen within the next couple of weeks, I take it. 2 days, What I found while looking up explosions that have happened, similar mail explosions and bombs showed up in Greece in 2010 and Germany in 2010. The 2nd of November, Merkel finds a suspicious in her office. And then the very next day in Greece, there was a ton of mail bombs to be sent to embassies, politicians, and organizations. There ended up being quite a few deaths. I can't give you the exact total on that, but that was in 2010. And now we're looking at the world view today. We're looking at Greece and we're looking at Germany, especially right now. Merkel just got her 4th election inauguration over with just a few days ago. So a lot of things have been happening in Germany and the UK, especially with the spy in Russia. Putin just got re-elected also. But you go back to this, and this was their technique, their MO, their signature. And I'm not saying that it's the same people, but it could be possible it's the same scenarios. It seems to be happening, even though we don't know the address of these bombs that we just found in Austin, Texas at FedEx. It has not been publicly released yet, so we're not sure where they were headed. But another thing that I looked at was plane and helicopter crashes. And there had been 10 crashes this year. Already 10 crashes. And there was 3 in 4.5 weeks. What is craziest about this is that the year of 2017 was named the safest year on record through aviation, where not one single person had a fatality through a commercial airline. That's crazy to know that within the past 3 months, I don't know the total yet. I did have the number, but 10 crashes, and I think the total was 180 something. Pretty sure, but don't quote me on that. Look it up yourself. Train crashes. There's been an exponential amount of train crashes. From 2017 to present day, there was 19. There's been 6 just this year so far in the last 3 months. The first quarter of this year. This is the first day of spring almost. It's almost the 21st. So let's see. One of the train crashes since the tweet by Comey, actually, the very next following days was the train crash with all the Republicans on it, headed to Virginia. And I've been looking and doing the research on the people that were in the dump truck that was on the tracks, where one person was killed, 2 people actually lived. I would love to know what's going on with that investigation, because we should by now have some bit of answers, and that is a big enough deal considering there were no civilians on the scene other than the politicians, the Republicans' family and kids. I can't imagine all of them in one spot is a scary thought. If we could have lost them all, possibly. But the train crash, it was called the Congressional Special Train 923 in Charlottesville, Virginia. There was also one before that, an Amtrak Silver Star 91 in South Carolina, killing 2 and injuring 115. And then there were 6 worldwide this year so far, with amazing death totals. That is crazy considering there was not one last year. The 4th fatal crash in 2 months as of February 5th. As of February 5th, this was the 4th fatal train crash in 2 months. The accident death rate as of today is 29,000. 29,000 is the accidental death rate as of today. The next thing that I looked at was White House alerts. There's been a lot of going on, especially since the tweet by James Comey activating the sleeper cells. The guy that goes to the White House and shoots his phone and then shoots himself. Especially with everything else. I mean, that just screams sleeper cell to me. But on top of that, there was the car bomb threat, where the guy pulls up to a barrier at the White House and says, "I have a bomb in my car." They tackle the guy, they arrest the guy, they bring in the robots to disarm it or look for bombs. They didn't find any, but that same exact day, this guy jumped over a bicycle rack and was trying to jump over the fence and apprehended. But what's crazy about that is just a week earlier, let's see, I might have the dates on here, just a week earlier, prior to that, there was a man that jumped the fence and was running loose on the White House property for 16 minutes before actually being apprehended. That's a scary thought. I mean, was that just a test to see how long do we have? Because I hope not. Because a lot can happen in 16 minutes. Let's see. I looked at envelope attacks. You have the envelope attack to Obama got one. Donald Trump Jr.'s wife opened one. And then Arlington, Virginia, Fort Myers had 11 crewmen injured and taken to the hospital because of an envelope attack. Then you obviously go back to the poisoning of the Russian spy, Sperkel or Skirple. Which goes to the death rate as of yet, so far through 2018, of unintentional poisoning. The death rate is at 6,769. That's an amazing statistic. I mean, you're doubling, or you're almost doubling the murder death rate by accidental poisoning. And I looked at the fire at Clinton's house, and then just a few days later, the fire at Donald Trump's. The Clintons was on January 3rd. January 8th was Trump. So this was before Comey's tweet, but still, you know, it's worth looking at because these sleeper cells were activated beforehand, but it was all systems go after the 29th, after the tweet that Comey wrote to McCabe. But knowing what we know now, we know what to look for. And so, you know, I looked back at the fire deaths of this year is 746. This is March 20th. This is literally the first quarter is up as of today for this year. And through one quarter, 746 deaths through fire. Every time I give you a figure, keep that in mind. The first quarter of 4 throughout the year is where we're at. There was a heroin bust where an Asian man was bringing heroin in that was tainted. And they said, officials said this would have gotten to the public, then 30 million people would have been killed. 30 million people. That, you know, to hat to them for stopping that. That could have been awful. That would have been the worst attack in history. I mean, that's quadrupling the Jewish count during the Holocaust. That's a different level. The OD rate for the first quarter of 2018, prescription OD rate is 3,197. The overall OD rate is at 5,350. Hospital infection rate is at 21,103. So that's topping everything that I've told you so far. The hospital infection death rate is at 21,103. And then medical error is at 53,603. That is amazing. That is amazing that could take place. The abortion rate, which tops every other death rate statistic right now in the year of 2018, is abortion, standing tall at 232,774 and counting. While I was looking up these, it was real-time death rates, and that one was constant. Abortion, you saw it would pop up on the page, whatever somebody just died from, and abortion was constant. It's a really sad thing, really sad. Another thing that I wanted to look at was sealed indictments. We're 14,000 plus sealed indictments now, and the regular, that's compared to 2,000 usually on average a year, and we are in counting, 14,000 plus. Which reminds me, the suicide rate for this year is 9,117. Because I can guarantee you that some of those sealed indictments, like Q said, will end in suicide. I think we've seen a lot of it so far, whether the mainstream media has been catching it or anybody else. Another thing that I looked at was the Uber car that just killed a pedestrian, a woman. She was walking her bike along the road, and one of these self-driving Uber cars that are being tested right now in the state of Arizona. One second. In Tempe, Arizona, there was a self-driving car being tested in Arizona legally right now. But as of testing, they have to have a man back behind the wheel at all times until the testing is done, I take it. But in Tempe, Arizona, that's where this has happened. The representative there would be Kirsten Sinnem. I'll read you out what I know. In Arizona, a man suspended the testing for the driverless car afterwards in Pittsburgh, San Francisco, and Toronto. But in April, California is set to pass a law to allow testing without men behind the wheel. In March 2017, a Uber car collided with another car in the same exact county, which is suspicious, even though it was said to be the other driver's fault, not the Uber car. But your senators there is McCain and Flake, so that's really suspicious to me there. That's really suspicious. But then to read on further about all the testing going on, like in California, they've been, since late last year, they've been using them through Waymo, a self-driving car unit of Google's parent company, Alphabet, since late last year in Arizona. That's another thing I think that could be a possible, sleeper cell attack, of some sort. There's a lot of things going on. Immediately after making this video, I'm going to make a video because I don't want to make this video too long. But my next video is going to be about all the deaths since January 29th to present day, and the significant deaths that have happened that were odd and of people of importance that matter. I went through the whole list. It took me hours. You guys have no clue how much I work for you guys. I work hours on end. I sell from home. I work from home through online sales, so I have nothing but time to do this. But I'm not complaining. I love every second of it, don't get me wrong. But the next video is going to be about all of these people that have died of high importance and high significance since January 29th, Comey's tweet, engaging and activating the sleeper cells. This is something, this video is to give you a bullet point on things to keep your eyes on, things that relate to both Q, the map, to you, to the news, everything. This is the news I'm giving you right here that they should be giving you on every network that they don't. That's why I'm here. That's the only reason I'm doing it. I am not I know y'all guys have to be thinking that my name's low-key Anon and I show my face. That's a big deal for me. But I wanted to be a part of this. This is not, about me. I wanted to show how brave people need to start being about this whole situation. How upfront they need to start talking about it and putting it on other social media platforms. Because it seems like nothing through the government and the legal systems are paid attention to until there are a mass amount of people through we the people, that are calling for investigations, that are surprised and mad about different certain situations, going on, whether it be through the FBI, DOJ, DNC, whatever the case may be. There's a bullet point list right there for you guys to keep your eyes on these things. They're important. Watch my next video and it will blow your mind. What I am about to post to my next video, some of the people, I have not heard anybody talk about any of these people. And what's crazy is they died the same day as Stephen Hawking. Is that a false flag or a distraction of some sort for whatever reason or another? I don't know, but big name people that you haven't heard of that are big top level officials. This is Low-Key Anon with your Daily Q News. Please like and subscribe, and at the very least like it, but I would love to have as many comments as possible, and I'm here for you guys. No other reason. I am here for the movement alone. The more voices out there, the more people are being engaged and activated. You understand? We have sleeper cells too. We've been sleeping as a population for a long time. It's time to activate the people's sleeper cells. It's time for America to rise up. The Great Awakening. This is Low-Key out.